I was speaking at a school a few years ago, and she's sharing some of these stories about transitional youth. And there was a 14-year-old girl, freshman girl, that came up to me afterwards, and she saw the stories. She saw the pictures, and she wanted to help. And she said to me, with every bit of conviction in her eyes, "How do we help?" And I knew that whatever I said to her, she was going to follow through on. And the Lord grabbed hold of that question in my mind and said, "That's the wrong question. The right question is, how do we love?" Because when you put yourself in that scenario, let's say you drive up to a street corner, there's an 18-year-old on the corner with the sign, you hand out $5 and your sack lunch, you've just helped them. If you think about the friends and family that are challenging in your life, how do I help? You can come up with a list of ways to help them. But if you ask instead, how do I love them? You talked about loving the unlovable. How do I love them? What would look different about that 18-year-old on the corner if we asked that question instead? How do I love this kid right now?
When you first asked that just a moment ago, I had chills. I had it just, and I know that has nothing to do with me right now, but I have to tell this quick story of my mom had given me this pullover for Christmas one year, and I just never wore it. But I couldn't get rid of it because my mom gave it to me. And she died in 2002, and I couldn't let it go. Well, one day, somehow, God put inside of my head, just take it down there. I was playing music at one of the drop-in centers for transitional youth. I took it down there. There was a girl who picked it up and put it on. And it did not fit her. And she stood in front of the mirror that they had there and said, "Oh, this fits pretty good." And she's wearing this thing that my mom had given me. And as I was leaving an hour later after cleanup, I saw her kitty corner across the street, just bedding down for the night in this little covered area of a building as I'm getting into my nice leather seated car and driving home to my warm bed. That changed my life, my little story about what transitional youth does. And I was able to answer that question that night. How do I love, not how do I help?
Yeah, it's powerful.
It was, and you have way more important stories than that, but it was, but for me, just, being just a person, how can I love? That was one way I could.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And it takes sacrifice, it takes skin in the game, because if it doesn't cost us something, it's probably not love.
Yeah.
We don't get to choose what that is.
Yeah.
And so I think even starting with that right question, because again, asking how you can help, you'll come up with 5 other sweaters, right? But not something that has personal sentimental value to you.
It was almost embarrassing to me how long I kept that. But maybe I kept it long enough just for her to have it.
Yeah.
Being with you today has been inspiring, convicting, and I got chills at one moment that I remember. I'm so thankful that God is using you in that role. You are His hands and feet, and changing in what He's doing with these youth, and giving people a chance, giving them hope, bringing them a meal, and changing their life. I'm so grateful and thankful that all of us got to hear your story today.
Thank you.
And I'm very excited about my 2 cents. I can't wait for that to come out. And the movie, whenever the movie comes out.
Okay.
But thank you for being here today
you.
at Mr. Beerwagen's Neighborhood. I'm so grateful that you were here.
I'm honored. I appreciate it so much, Michael.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to give her a hug now.
Oh, thank you. Thank
I
you.
appreciate
Thank
you.
you. I appreciate you.
That was so good.
Oh,
it was
gosh.
so good.
Thank you so much.